welcome to BK Gardens. Hope you're doing great today. Today I want to talk about some of the reasons why I grow and the benefits of growing your own food. 4 years ago when I started growing, the big driver for me was I was seeing a nutritionist at the time, realized I wasn't eating enough greens and not eating a really healthy, balanced diet. We love to cook a lot, and we were emphasizing a lot on the children, at that time 4 and 5, making sure they eat their vegetables and greens every meal. But a lot of times we would just let it slip off and not eat ourselves, my wife and I. So I became motivated, realized I had a little bit of growing space here in Brooklyn in the backyard, good, great sun, and I started feeling like, hey, if I start growing my own food and greens, kale, lettuce, I'll start growing and actually feel more vested in eating. And that's actually exactly the way it played out. We started growing some kale, lettuce, and then some tomatoes, cucumbers every year, a little bit more, and our diet really transformed. I actually lost about 20 pounds that first year, and now like eating greens and vegetables is a staple of our everyday routine. I actually can't wait. Here it is. It's like Memorial Day weekend. I cannot wait for 5 more weeks till we get our cucumbers in, our sun gold tomatoes, and then we can really start. All of our salad will be basically sourced from our backyard. It tastes fantastic, so it's a great benefit. Not only health-wise, but the taste is incredible. The taste of the food that you get from your own garden is far surpasses anything I've ever been able to get at, like, say, a great organic store, even a farmer's market. The ability to pick something, like tonight we'll make some salad, fish tonight, but gonna have our first harvest of this kale. It is about 6 weeks old, delicious, and the ability to just go out in your backyard, pick food, or if you don't have a backyard but you have some grow lights, you can do some microgreens, pick them. Here's some spinach we've been doing. This is about a week old. There is always a possibility to grow some food, no matter whether you're in an apartment or you have more space in a backyard. There's always an opportunity to grow, whether you're doing something small out of a container or something larger. So the health benefits, and along with the diet benefits, are enormous. Another great change that growing really caused for me was an awareness of recycling and composting. We've become big composters. Like, I don't think we've thrown on eggshells in 4 years because we use them for a lot of our tomatoes. Great for the stem growth, great calcium. But we started really composting to a whole new level because we compost for our own gardens. So like all the composting we do gets translated into eventual final product compost that we will use in our garden beds. Like this bed right here is the beneficiary of homegrown compost, amended with some external compost, just because we grow a lot now in the backyard. But our amount of garbage and waste on a weekly basis has dropped definitely about 25 to 30% over the last 4 years. It's amazing how much, when you're aware of all the food scraps that you put in the garbage, that can actually go back into the garden bed. It's pretty transformative. So there are huge benefits to the environment. The other benefit is, when you start thinking about your food, I started becoming more aware of where food came from. Whenever I buy food at the store now, I look at the label, I say, oh wow, this came 2,000 miles. There's a greenhouse emissions cost to that. Rather than getting kale from 10 feet off my back door to getting it from California, there's no truck involved, there's not air-conditioned cooling involved. It goes right from here onto our plates. So there's a tremendous greenhouse and environmental benefit of cooking and eating locally. That is, it's estimated that 25 to 30% of total emissions on a global basis is from agriculture and forestry. So the more we can eat local and grow locally, there's tremendous benefits for the environment. Another benefit is actually just connecting with nature. Coming out in the backyard every day. Come out here about 5 to 10 times a day. Joke with my kids is that I love my babies, my food babies, more than them. It is not true. I love my kids more than anything. But I do love my plants. And, coming out here every day, So I've been out here for the last 3 or 4 weeks, and really since the beginning of spring, getting ready for the garden. I'm aware that, hey, the bees, the pollinators are starting to come. It's amazing how much of an amateur birder I've become. In the backyard, we see tons of, we see sparrows back here, with a lot of cardinals, blue jays. Some we'll have to net our food in because they love berries. We have a bunch of raspberries growing this year. But it's amazing just being out in nature, particularly in this COVID-19 crisis when everybody's in lockdown. I feel like escaping into nature is hugely important. And there's a tremendous benefit of just getting out in nature. Last benefit is that when you started growing, another huge, when I think about my own health, going to the gym, like the last 2 days, well, we had a tree fall in our backyard, so we've been cutting up a tree for the last few days. But even the day-to-day gardening, what I'll do is, gyms are closed right now because of COVID-19, so what we're doing right now is working out at home. So I'm jumping rope here in the middle of the garden when I'm not teaching the kids school or doing my own work. So it's a great way but when I'm physically engaged with the garden, it's a great workout. Whether that's, filling up these beds with soil and compost, planting, there's a tremendous amount of physical work that's involved in gardening. That is, it feels great. After a day of gardening, you're exhausted, but you feel like you've really connected with nature. And the other thing is, hey, being Irish, I have to watch out for the sun. Have my SPF 100 on right now, baseball hat always, or even a more ridiculous hat. But having a connection to sun, vitamin D is tremendously beneficial for your own health. Getting out in the sun. They're talking about right now with COVID-19, there's a lot of deficiency of vitamin D because so many folks are spending time inside. The more you can get out in nature, out in the sun, the better for your body. So that's a quick wrap up of my perspective on why I grow and why it's become such a big part of my life. We'd love to hear your comments and suggestions. If this is helpful in any way, hit like, subscribe, but most importantly, start growing, whether that's an herb garden in a simple pot or microgreens off your kitchen. Doing anything is tremendously beneficial. You will find that it's great for your body, your mind, and your soul. Keep growing. From BK Gardens, this is Sean Duggan wishing you a great Memorial Day weekend. See you soon.